What's going on, guys? I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Guys, I want to talk about something that happened in Detroit, Michigan. Now, this story is from June 24th, 2022. And I guess this explains why I never heard of it, at that time. But this woman up here, that looked like a treasure trove. Her name is Azaradine France. She's in her 30s. This woman is charged with second-degree murder and was sentenced on Monday to 35 to 60 years for killing who, you may ask? This little boy right here. His name is Chase Allen. He was her son, 3 years old. And he died of blunt force trauma to the head. And if that's not bad enough, two of the siblings witnessed, because she has 4 other kids, 2 of the siblings witnessed this murder of this boy. And then assisted with helping her put the body in the deep freezer in the house. Yeah. This woman got 35 to 60 years for smashing her son's head in and taking the deal. Ain't no damn way. Take a look at this, what happened in court, and we'll come back and talk about it. May Chase Allen rest in peace, because no matter how many years you get this woman, it's not enough justice to me. Take a look.
Inside the 3rd District Court in Detroit, 33-year-old Azaradine France covered her face as she listened to her sister read a victim impact statement.
I pray that you find healing, that you actually one day regret what you did to your children, especially Chase, because he didn't deserve it.
Police found the body of 3-year-old Chase inside a freezer in his home on Monte Vista back in June of 2022. An autopsy revealed blunt force trauma to the head was the cause of his death. His mother, Azaradine France, was arrested and on July 12th of this year pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. In court, the prosecutor said Chase's siblings were also witness to some unspeakable acts.
Not only did 2 of the siblings of Chase Allen witness Ms. France putting their deceased brother in a freezer, one of the children, who was 9 years old at the time, at Ms. France's direction, went and got the laundry bag that she eventually put him in.
The prosecutor also said Chase's mother was not alone in failing to keep him safe during his short life.
He was failed by so many during his short life. CPS. There was at least 7 rejected complaints by CPS, as well as at least 6 CPS investigations.
An argument even the defense attorney could support.
The one thing we can agree upon is this child was failed from every single adult that could have helped him.
As for France's other children, we're told they are now in foster care and will likely require a lot of therapy going forward. Now, in addition to Chase, we're told that France had 4 other sons and daughters. So the Chase had 4 siblings there. Those 4, as I mentioned, are now in foster care. And the judge said that France needs to get any sort of mental help that is offered while she is in prison for those 35 to 60 years. Reporting live tonight, Dave Spencer, Fox 2 News.
Guys, I want to read this article when this thing first popped off on June 24th, 2022. And this story, man, I gotta be honest with you, is just as sad as it is evil, because I mean, there's a lot of stuff in this article that talks about stuff that I didn't even know about this case, because I'm new to it as well. And it reads as follows: 3-year-old boy's body discovered in freezer in Detroit. Oh God! 3-year-old boy's body is discovered in freezer in Detroit home. Mother is arrested. And it says, when a team of Detroit cops and a state child advocate arrived at a rundown house on the city's west side Friday morning to conduct a wellness check, the woman who answered the door acted strangely, police officers said. She tried to push the officers away as if there was nothing going on. Detroit Police Chief James White said something was not right about the conversation. Their suspicions raised the officers called for a supervisor and a team entered the home. They found 5 children living in squalor and the decomposed body of another child thought to be a 3-year-old boy entombed in a basement freezer. This case has shocked me and shocked our investigators, White said during a Friday press conference down the street from the crime scene. Following the discovery of the boy's body, the woman was arrested and her 5 surviving children were taken to the hospital, White said. Once their physical health is assessed, the children will undergo Kids Talk, a forensic interview with investigators and a child psychologist. The other kids who were in the house, just imagine what they've gone through, said White, a licensed mental health counselor. Imagine what they have endured living in that home. You can only imagine they're all going to be suffering on some level of trauma. We'll learn more in the coming hours and coming days after the kids are interviewed. In addition to interviewing the suspect and her children, investigators are looking into whether the woman had previous contacts with Detroit police or the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, White said. Tony Hayes, the boy's grandmother, said she and other family members have called Child Protective Services dozens of times. Haynes said her dead grandson's name was Chase Allen and that he was blind. Hayes said she became suspicious when her daughter, Chase's mother, told her the boy had burned his hand by touching a plate full of noodles. I knew that was some BS, Hayes said. I called CPS on her. A lot of us called and they come out and give her kids right back to her. Hayes said after the state visited her daughter's home several times, her daughter told her Chase had gone to live with his paternal grandfather's girlfriend in Coldwater. But then the grandfather got out of jail and told me Chase wasn't living with his girlfriend, Hayes said. She said family members went to the house on Monte Vista about 2 weeks ago to confront her daughter, followed by another call to Child Protective Services. Hayes said she had no idea how long Chase had been entombed in the freezer. You wouldn't believe how pissed off I was about this when I heard it, she said. Investigators also did not know Friday how long the child's body was in the freezer or whether the siblings knew he was interned there, police said. Police said what triggered the wellness check by officers from the 2nd Precinct and a representative of Child Protective Services. But after the team entered the home, they said then this sad and tragic discovery was made. The house was in poor condition. There's a lot of concern for the other children based on what we saw in the home. White said officers who were at the scene are being offered counseling through the department's peers support program. Friday's grisly discovery harkened on a 2015 case involving Michelle Bellaire, who enlisted the aid of 2 of her other children to help her kill 2 siblings and cram their bodies in the freezer. Known as the Freezer Mom, Bellaire pleaded guilty to first-degree murder charges and is serving life in prison. At the house of Monte Vista Street Friday, a collection of stuffed animals lined the front steps while children's bicycles lay on the back lawn. The next-door neighbor, Ladette Hardy, said she never met the boy whose body was found in the freezer, but she said she often brought clothes and food for the 5 children who she described as deprived. I did help clothe them and feed them and take care of them, Hardy said. They were loving children. As a matter of fact, the mother was loving. They didn't have anything, Hardy said, of the kids next door. In winter, I saw them with summer clothes on, summer shoes. Some had no shirts. I picked up the children Saturday, and the mother and I had a nice conversation, Hardy said. She asked me, did I know of any tutoring programs for the children to learn how to read? And I gave her the best information I had. She said she was devastated to learn on Friday's discovery in the house next door, and said she was under the impression the children were living with relatives. I never met him, Hardy said about the boy. His mother said that her aunt and uncle in Alabama had him, and that's all that was really known. Hardy said she's praying for the surviving children. All right, guys, that's the story. And I'm going to be honest. CPS nationally, they need to have some new type of protocol when going out to calls and what to look for and what to expect when they make judgment calls or feel as though they don't want to do their job. Now, I'm not saying all these workers are like that, but I mean, there's so many stipulations now, just like the justice system, to where things can get overlooked under the form of policy. It's a blind little boy that was beat to death. Think about that. He couldn't even defend himself from the blows coming because he was blind. You beat a blind child, your child, to death. You need to be set on fire right the fuck now. And that's real. You got a whole bunch of kids. You understand what I'm saying? You committing atrocities on one of the children in front of the other children for them to witness and then get them to help you get rid of the body in the basement. Said these children wasn't living well. At what point do you say, okay, you throw in the towel and say, listen, I care about my children. I want to make sure they have. People was calling CPS on you. I'm sure some of them people would have took them kids, especially little Chase, because he had a supreme disability, one extreme disability, blindness. Lying and saying he in Alabama with his grandfolk, dude in jail, the granddad in jail, like Chase ain't down here, sparking controversy, everybody running, now let's go see. You kept a baby decomposing in your basement, and all they did was give you 35 to 60 years, which was bullshit, and I'm gonna tell you why. How do you get to make a deal when you didn't give no deal to a boy that was already at a disadvantage in life? He didn't have sight. You think about that. If you were so tired of taking care of him, you could have called the same CPS that other people was calling on you and made some type of arrangements. It wouldn't have made you a bad mom. It would have just made it to where, you know, he could get the help and love and support that he needed. Said this woman lived in squalor. I don't know how you guys think about it, but my thing is, if I can't provide for these children and they're still young enough to be impressionable by loving people that could, she could have made some type of arrangements. Like I said, I'm sure the family members, they cared enough to call CPS. I'm sure they would have took them. That's the thing, man. It's like people, for some reason, can't see past the length of their own nose. This woman in the courtroom holding her face, acting, nobody feels sorry for you. Because you just killed a blind child. 3 years old, y'all. 3 years old. I not only feel sorry for little Chase, but all of those siblings too that had to see that, that can't unsee that. And as they get older and they understand what it is to be an adult and what life is about, a lot of them might carry guilt for what she put them through. Then you wonder why it's a lot of violent people out here and insensitive children, because they go through households like this. Where the fuck was the fathers? Why he couldn't go with his dad? Why couldn't any of them go with their dad? That's another thing. I don't think she had contact with these dudes. And I'm going to keep it the fuck real, because the date was out there in summer clothes and winter clothes, and they were struggling and starving and all this type of stuff, where strangers and neighbors got to come out of their pocket to feed them and stuff. I don't think the dads was around at all. This is why you have kids and you have a plan. Then you have a plan B to the plan A, then a plan C to the plan B, because it's a long commitment in taking care of somebody else other than yourself. Most people don't want to have kids until they get themselves established. This woman right here had a lot of kids. Kids are draining on the financial, on your financial wallet. They talking about CPS failed and all this stuff. They did. They did fail. But I mean, it's... Man, I'm done talking about this. This is making me mad. I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. I would have never gave her no deal, because she never gave him no deal. She never gave any of them other children deals too, when she was torturing and abusing them as well. That's the thing. Them kids was getting attacked and stuff too. Not just him. You didn't have no regard of his situation, knowing that he, like the other children, you know, he doesn't have the same advantage as them. So when he gets in trouble, it's a little bit different because he can't see what he's doing. I'm sure you was collecting some type of payment from them kids. You was benefiting off of that. Man, I'm done. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.